Friday, October 16th, 2020. Call to Walt Manning. Last name, M as in Mary, A-N-N-I-N-G. For a Fraud Magazine interview on fraudulent emails. Hi, Walt. This is Bob Ty. I'm good. Thanks very much for taking time to speak with me. Yeah, I think so too. Walt, I've got my tape recorder on. Can I put you on speaker and record our conversation? Great, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good, okay. Well, did my questions that I sent, and you might have some even better ones yourself, did they make sense to you?
They did, yes. And, each one of those is critical for people to realize, and it ties back really to the deep fake article that Mason Wilder did not too long ago. With the technology increasing in capability every day, it's making it so much easier for fraudsters to be able to fake all types of communication. Although the email and text, particularly the email, has been around for a much longer time, but now that we're getting into audio and video and other types of media, it's becoming even more critical for people to have a little skepticism and suspicion when they get this type of communication, like you were talking about in the Netflix documents.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more with all you said, and obviously you know a lot more about it than I do. And I remember Mason's article. The approach that I'm taking on this article, and I'd like your opinion of it, is that prevention here is, given the limited amount of space that I have in the article, is not should not be the primary focus, because even though this fraud took place a couple of years ago, as you said, email frauds have been going on for a long time, and it's disheartening, but it's the fact that there are so many potential victims out there that are even professional people that are much more naive and trusting than they should be. And,
absolutely.
Yeah, and therefore, what I thought the article should focus on is two things. One, finding and preserving and submitting with the proper chain of custody admissible evidence that will secure a conviction in court, and secondly, to help victims regain whatever of the fraud proceeds are left through asset tracing and recovery. I've spoken to Alton Sizemore, and I've also spoken to another CFE in the LA area who's an asset recovery specialist. And I think that your focus and Alton's about the FBI and DOJ perspective on the investigation, why they did what they did, how they did it, plus your insights that these three things, the investigation, the asset recovery, and then the insight into the fundamental technological technique that the fraudsters used here to seal the deal. Because I think my reading of the FBI and DOJ documentation is that these people that gave up their money in South Korea and China, that when they saw these Netflix emails in the chain, that made them finally trust enough to send their $14 million over. Do you generally agree with what I think?
Oh, absolutely. And that's why, the technology with these types of electronic communications like the text messages and thing that pushes them over and makes them fall victim to this type of fraud. Particularly if they're out of the country and they don't have the same personal contacts that they can verify the accuracy of the information. If they're relying on the fraudster and all the information that they're being told and that they see, then this type of fraudulent forgery and misuse of technology could probably be what makes them send the money.
Yeah. And even before this kind of technology came about, I've done a little research into the history of frauds like this. People, investors, they're looking for somebody that they can trust with their money and make a really profitable investment. And when they find a charismatic person like you, Zero Mostel in the Mel Brooks comedy The Producers, they'll follow this person off the cliff.
Yeah, exactly. And then if you can just use a little bit of this technology to, it's adding layers of credibility to the fraud is basically what he used the technology for. And it's so easy to do today that you don't have to be a technical expert to create a forged document, to create a forged text message, to alter an email to make it appear to have been sent by someone else. It's just not that hard anymore. And honestly, I'm surprised that there's not more fraud with this type of technology abuse, because it's so easy to do, and we all rely on the technology and these apps to communicate even more every day.
Yeah, it's interesting. Two things you just said were very interesting. One is your observation about the layers of credibility, that incrementally, I think that nobody tells a whopper if he's really successful at it and expects that single one to carry the day, but an incremental layering of more and more evidence that really adds up to total persuasion is an effective technique. The other thing when you're saying about so many people are aware of, so many people, fraudsters in particular, are aware of the possibilities for creating fraudulent documents and email messages. I've got a background in technology. I haven't worked in tech for more than 20 years, but I consider myself to be at least of average savvy about this, and I don't know anything about how to detect fraudulent emails. And I just...
Then I can solve that. I can solve that for you.
And me, good. Me as a proxy for readers. I think a lot of readers out there, even if they're tech savvy, they've got a lot of things to learn about how to just take a closer look under the hood of the emails that they're getting and put themselves in a better position to help their clients when something like this happens.
Oh, absolutely. The more awareness the more we can